Help support AMTV by becoming a patron, an AMTV staff member, and following us over on Twitter. Hi there guys, it's Adam Martin here, and welcome back to another instalment of the Now Review. Quite a special one actually, because today we've got just a vinyl release to look at, and it's just not any vinyl release. This is, well, it's quite interesting. It's both a sort of a reissue, but also a limited edition release. As you can see, we're going to be taking a look at the collector's edition 2-vinyl set of Now That's What I Call HMV. So for those who are unfamiliar, Now HMV came out last year towards the end of 2021 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of HMV. It was a glorious celebration on the whole, great 100 years. But this vinyl, this was interesting. This is part of their 100th anniversary centenary or centenary collection. They've been releasing a bunch of albums, or re-releasing a bunch of albums with this banner. You get this little card on the left-hand side. They've been quite exclusive, they've been quite popular. So, let's just have a look at some of the finer details. Obviously, the cover has the purple and pink HMV colours we've come to know, and of course, Nipper the dog with a microphone. Nipper, who's been their mascot since the very beginning. And on the left, the little card that comes with it. So it has the 100th anniversary banner. It says limited edition HMV exclusive pink vinyl. So there you go, that's what's in store. You've got the 100th anniversary logo there, which I always quite liked. And it says celebrating 100 years of HMV and our love for music. Our centenary range is a carefully curated collection of some of our favourite albums from the past 100 years. Presented in HMV exclusive limited edition, numbered packaging, a must-have for any vinyl collection. And this is number 75 in the range, and it says HMV limited edition. The back of this little card just gives you a little brief summary of HMV, a little bit about their history, which is always good. But on the bottom it says legendary artists including Queen, U2, The Killers, Oasis, The Clash, Rod Stewart, The Police, Electric Light Orchestra. And as you can see there's a whole lot more, a lot of recognisable names there. The original CD release was a 5-disc album, if I remember rightly. It had 100 tracks on it, meant to represent 100 years. How well did it do that? Well, it's up for debate. You could argue, it didn't exactly cover 100 years. It just sort of covered from the late 50s to the present day, if you ask me. But let's see if the vinyl can do any better. It's a 2-disc album, or 2 vinyl disc album, so naturally there's not 100 tracks. But let's look at LP1 side A. We've got Queen with Don't Stop Me Now. Of course, Queen had to be on here. Good tune to whack on as well. Electric Light Orchestra with Living Thing. Quite surprised they didn't go for Mr. Blue Sky. That seems like the obvious yellow choice, but I suppose they're trying to branch out. You've got The Killers with Mr. Brightside, probably the most played song of the 21st century thus far, probably. U2 with Beautiful Day, cracking song that is. You hear it at a lot of sports events, actually. Oasis and Wonderwall, I mean, we all know Wonderwall, don't we? At least a lot of people know it on guitar. Manic Street Preachers with A Design for Life, again, like, good tune. Not the one I would have put on their catalogue, necessarily. The Jam with Start, and The Clash with Should I Stay or Should I Go? So getting that punk new wave sound in there as well. LP1 side B has Dionne Warwick with Walk On By, Aretha Franklin with I Say a Little Prayer, Queen of Soul, Dusty Springfield with Son of a Preacher Man, one of her best tracks, definitely. Marvin Gaye with I Heard It Through the Grapevine, iconic song from Motown. Stevie Wonder with My Sharia Moore, not the Stevie Wonder song I would have put on there personally, but hey ho. Tina Turner with What's Love Got to Do With It, her big breakthrough in the 80s or back into the mainstream. The Human League with Don't You Want Me, cracking tune that is. Duran Duran with Girls on Film, which I believe they performed at the Jubilee concert, didn't they? And Soft Cell with Tainted Love. So again, interesting mix for side B. You're sort of going from the 60s Motown-y sound up to the 80s sort of new wave synthy stuff. So a bit of an interesting mix. So LP1 in total has 17 tracks. So moving on to LP2 side A, we have John Lennon and Yoko Ono with Instant Karma, We All Shine On. Again, it's odd, it's a good song, but not the John Lennon song I would have put here. The Beach Boys with Good Vibrations, very good choice there. Simon and Garfunkel with Mrs. Robinson from the Graduate soundtrack, instantly iconic song there too. Bob Dylan with Subterranean Homesick Blues. I don't think I'm too familiar with that one. I wonder if I'll recognise it. The Kinks with Waterloo Sunset. Rod Stewart with Maggie May. Never liked that song. Elvis Presley with Suspicious Minds. I mean, yeah, of all the Elvis songs, that one's probably a good bet. Paul McCartney and Wings with Live and Let Die, their theme from the Bond film of the same name. And on side B of LP2, we have Kate Bush with Wuthering Heights, cracking tune. And of course, time I'm recording this, she's number 1 in the charts again with Running Up That Hill. ABBA with Knowing Me, Knowing You. I guess ABBA had to be on here somewhere, didn't they? Elton John and Kiki D with Don't Go Breaking My Heart. The Police with Roxanne. Blondie and Heart of Glass. Chic with Le Freak, good disco tune. Jackson 5 with I Want You Back, their first hit, of course. And finally, the Supremes with Stop in the Name of Love. So in total, that's 16 tracks on LP2. So in total, you are looking at a 33-track album. I'll talk more about the track list in just a second, but let me show you what one of these discs look like. As the card indicates, it is in fact a very lovely pink vinyl. There it is, lovely pink, the HMV pink, if you like. Really, I love colourful discs like this, and to have one that is both associated with the Now and HMV brands feels really cool, so nice to have that there. So yeah, in summary then, the track list, I mean, it was always going to be a smaller track list since they were only doing a 2-disc vinyl, and I guess they've tried to go for a lot of the big ones. There's not a lot of modern representation on this, really, is there? There's not a lot of modern songs. In fact, there's only a few here released after the year 2000. I mean, what have you got? You've got Mr. Brightside, you've got Beautiful Day, Wonderwall is just before in the mid-90s. Do you get what I mean? There's not a lot of like post-2000 songs on here, so if they're going for the same thing, it doesn't really work that well at covering all bases. But, you know, as a sort of summation of the best hits, or maybe the most iconic hits to put on vinyl, it's not a bad choice at all. In terms of recommending it, I mean, you know, if you got to look at this track list, if you want these songs on vinyl in this particular way, then absolutely go for it. But I will tell you, these will not last long. These issues went out at 9 o'clock on the morning that they were released, so Saturday the 18th of June. And if you didn't get it in store, each store has a few copies each. Once it's gone, it's gone. A few quantities went online later on in the afternoon, but they've gone pretty quick as well. So if you didn't get one already, then unfortunately you might be having to go secondhand. I don't know what's going to happen to the prices. I don't know if they're going to be jacked up to, you know, a stupid amount, or if it's going to be just above retail. But now, yeah, suffice to say, if you wanted this album, if you didn't get it on its launch day, you might have a hard time finding it. But don't worry, if you want the sort of Now HMV, there is, of course, the 5-disc CD, which you can still get from HMV, you can still get from Amazon, all those sorts of places. That might even be on a reduced price now, and you are getting 100 songs. But yeah, the vinyl edition, it is lovely. I love the pink vinyl, I love the aesthetic of it, the cover, the selection's not too bad. I think could have been better, could have been a bit more varied, even though it's on vinyl. But yeah, this is all in all a very snazzy release. But that's all for this installment of the Now Review. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please remember to leave a like on the video and comment down below as well. Did you manage to get this album? Did you want this album and you maybe weren't so lucky? You're going to try and find it secondhand? Let me know in those comments. Subscribe to the channel if you're brand new. We'd love to have you aboard. I've been Adam Martin from AMTV. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Thank you to our patrons for helping to support the show, and a special thank you to Macra, Hooks Media, Ben Freeman, Ethan Carberry-Holt, Bruce Danton, The Broken Kitsumanoid, Tobias Krotz, Globe of Reviews, Trev Hughes, Derek Chambers, Sean Knock, Bailey Green, and DSTV New Zealand, our AMTV staff members.